So I'm Michael, and I wanted to talk to you about resiliency. And I got very interested in resiliency because a long time ago, a medical expert with good intentions told me there was nothing I could do with my chronic illness. Now, I wasn't looking for a cure because at a cellular level, you got what you got. But what the medical expert with good intentions didn't know was Harvard Medical School, way back in time, had already had 7 years of research saying people with chronic illness, they were studying only 4 at the time, who to practice certain skills had 20% less symptoms, and they were 30+% cheaper to treat for the healthcare system. And that was research from 69 to 77. So they've got even more research now. And along the way, I ended up having a battle with cancer a few times. And so as I joked that I've had so many surgeries, I'm almost a gutless wonder. I got no guts left and I still wonder. It's the bad joke, I know. So along the way, though, I got married and had kids, and I couldn't find any programming to help kids and families cope when one of the family members were sick. There was coloring books to express feelings, there was therapy and medication, but what do you do with a 3-year-old that's mad in the middle of the night that they or somebody else in the family's got an illness and they won't sleep? What do you do when you can't sleep because one of your kids, my daughter's good now, she had a brain tumor at 7. So we're in a world-famous hospital, and I said things like, so what skill-based programming do you have to help her sister or her mom or dad sleep? And the department head was, well, what do you mean? And that's when I knew that I could do better than that. Because the model they had was all about negative asset. And I got introduced to, at 14, to Shaolin Kung Fu. Now, I only got good enough in Kung Fu that I didn't trip over my own feet as often as the day I started. So I never got physically brilliant orange belt. You know, there's white, yellow, and orange. Well, orange means you finally paid enough attention that maybe you can stay. But what I did get out of that was the mental training that coincided with what I learned in music for trumpet and piano and other keyboard and vocal lessons. And no, I didn't spend as much money on vocal lessons as I should have, but that's another story. I'm the one person in the family, they asked me if I could sing Far, Far Away in solo. So low they couldn't hear me. I know they're bad, but what can I tell you? It's all I got. But what we did get out of Shaolin Kung Fu for me was that when I had my cancer battles and then my daughter had her brain tumor issue, was the medical people were surprised at how, relatively speaking, calm we were. And I used to say things to the guy in my hospital in Nova Scotia who said, well, you're really ill and you're too calm and you're having too much fun because you know you're really ill and you're going to die. And I went, well, yeah, I'm 27 and I'm really sick because I had 1 tumor before the surgery. After the surgery, we have 4 and it's stage 2, stage 3. So I know I'm in deep trouble, but I'm going to live till I die. And why are you only talking about what's wrong as opposed to where's the skills to help me cope? Well, we have pills. That's a piece. Where's the rest? There was no rest. And I kept thinking, at 27, you know, if I live long enough to get out of this place, I can do a better job than them having nothing. So what we're going to go through today is me looking at research from Harvard University, University of Chicago, and reverse mining it. What are the outcomes that we deserve to have when we're going through family stress or personal stress? And how do we get there? And how do we have fun on occasion? Because I'm a big believer that joyfulness is not about denying your health issue and the possible negative outcomes, but joyfulness is enjoying those moments that make life well worth living. And whether it's some serious moments or some silly moments, when my kids were under the age of 10, we used to have sunrise and sunsets as joyful moments. And we would break all the clothing rules. As long as you had some clothes on, had to have some. You know, the joke was if you're under 12 in my house, you have to wear some clothes all the time. And when you're my age, I used to tease the kids, if I go outside to watch the sunset or the sunrise, we could scare the neighbors, so that's why I have to wear some. It's my house, my rules. And so we would have these joyful moments watching the sun come up, and the long shadows that got shorter as the sun came up, and the short shadows to the long shadows as the sun went down. But we'd have, oh, sunrise, sunset alert, and we'd run out to the front porch and watch. Just for 20 seconds. And in the dead of winter and 30 below, trust me, it was not more than 10 or 20 seconds. But it would just break the everyday. So, resiliency is our ability to cope with overwhelming things to bounce back. Is it a cure for anything? Well, for acute illness, no. but it helps you have a better quality experience. For chronic illness, it's not a cure either, but it's about quality of experience. And I found it confuses the daylights out of my medical professionals because I have a couple of small issues. So I've been a research guinea pig because, hey, my quality of life is off the page compared to what others that have gone before me. So you go to the hospital for a day a year and you get poked and prodded and asked questions. So what is resiliency? It's a set of factors. It's about the fact that in life we can shrink or stretch when we're challenged. And resiliency is understanding that stretching is not always comfortable, but long-term is a set of positive habits we can start to create for ourselves. So I want to take you today and look at a very specific piece of that and how you can use it. And my goal with the beginning of this was for 6-year-olds, as I used to joke, 6 to 66. But along the way, our oldest known user of this program is 93. And her phone call to me was, how's this stuff work? This is good, beep, beep. I get 1 or 2 good nights of sleep every week now. Because she said has a good night's sleep since an automobile accident in her late 70s when somebody ran a stoplight and a crosswalk, and she said, I became a flying object. And after a couple of weeks, she went off the sleeping pills because she said, I like things to work my way. She said, other than physical exhaustion, I don't sleep well. So we've helped her a little. But then again, she admits that she only practices it a couple of days a month. And with this program, what you practice takes 21 to 90 days to really start to bear fruit. So relaxation, mindfulness are the 2 key skills we're going to focus on. And how many people are under 18? We had a fibber over here. So for this first piece, this is for people under 18. Okay, so if you want to bring your chairs up or stay where you are, it's entirely up to you. I don't think you can get too much closer. And with my big feet, if you got too close, I could step on your toe. And with my big feet, that could hurt. So you just stay right where you are. So are you ready? Under 18s? I want to talk to you about the types of energy you have. One of the things about managing our energy and being resilient is being aware of the different types. And so I'd like you to look at the fact that there's 4 types of energy. And if you want, I'd like you to join along in practicing these, either in your chair or standing up. So the first one is your quiet energy. Anybody really good at quiet energy? And I can't put my hand up because it's not what I'm the best at. Anybody else? Good. Good. So we have a few people that feel that they're very good at quiet energy, and that's an important skill because people who are good with quiet energy are often really good listeners. Absolutely. And so that's a really important skill in a world that likes to blab a lot. I mean, is loud. Nothing wrong with loud sometimes, but not all the time. So quiet energy. Now, who here is good at slow energy? 2 again, same 2, who knew? So again, I was out visiting friends and we went to a gift shop yesterday and there was a beautiful piece of art in glass sculpture. And my gift is not slow energy. And as I walked down the aisle of the gift store, I suddenly stopped because the sculpture had been moved and it was hanging into the aisle. And when I was younger, I might not have noticed it, that it was hanging in the aisle, and I might have broken that beautiful $900 piece of art. So I'm glad that I'm older now and I've been practicing slow energy because it was like, put the brakes on. Didn't want to touch it because it's $900 and it looks fragile, so I got somebody that was very quiet and soft and worked there, and they practice quiet and slow energy around valuable things that break easy. And she said, oh, thank you for noticing, with her white gloves, and she moved it. So there's very big uses for quiet energy and slow energy, and our society doesn't always value quiet and slow. We tell people things like, shut up, be quiet. And yet, there are things to learn to be quiet and slow. So for those of us that are born with quiet and slow gifts, awesome. For those of us that have other gifts like loud and fast, awesome. But both can be wonderful and both can sometimes get in the way. So this is to help you understand different ways to use them. So if you see the number 1, I want you to understand that number 1 is what floppy's all about. Because as we go through this, I want you to experience feeling floppy or extra heavy. Like there's too much gravity in the room. because that's a valuable skill to help you fall asleep easier, to help you relax easier. And then somewhere between number 3 and 7, that's usually flow. Anybody here play sports? Anybody play musical instrument? Okay. Anybody have any hobbies that you like to play, do things with? See, I have the hobby of bike riding. I'm not very good at it, but on a sunny day with my helmet on and my sunglasses and not a lot of traffic and my red flashing light in the back so the cars can see me for sure, I like to go out and bike ride. And somewhere, I don't know, in the middle gear range on a flat or a little up or down, I really go like blazes. And I'm in flow. I know how to balance, I know how to steer, I know how to brake, pedal, and I'm in flow, I'm having fun, and the world just disappears. And I bike for an hour or 5 hours. Some days I don't know until my legs go, we've had enough biking today. So flow is a wonderful place to be in. And sometimes flow happens doing homework, driving the car. To the adults in the room, you ever driven the car for an hour and only when you get there you realize you've been driving for the full hour because you listen to the radio and you enjoy the scenery, and that's flow. It's not a dangerous place as long as you're not exhausted. So flow is a wonderful place to be. We're going to talk about some things that can help you be in flow. And then up somewhere above 7, probably 9, 10, I know it only goes to 10 T's, 10 and a half, that's fright and fun. And fright and fun is when we're really concentrating. Anybody ever played a video game? Oh yeah. Well, that's when we're practicing the fright and fun response, because you're concentrating and you're... My brother has a driving program on his computer. And when I play it so well that if I'm wearing a t-shirt, you can actually see my heart rate, my chest moving. Because the game lets you play it in different ways. There's chasing the bad guys. You can turn the sirens on. And when you take a shortcut through the woods to try to cut the bad guys off, there's the log bridge, and the steering wheel and the gas pedal and the gear lever all vibrate as you go over the wooden bridge. If you take another shortcut through the gravel road, the car sways a little. If you go around the corners too much, and I love it because the sirens are on. My brother's got a couple of big speakers. He's got a bass speaker. I get really involved, and I'm in fright and fun response. I'm engaged with this game. Now, that's a lot of fun, except that my wife would tell you, and a couple of friends would tell you, that if they meet Michael the next day, I have a concentration problem if I play the game too long. Because I've been so engaged up here that I've used up some brain chemistry, and I'm kind of tired. And it just isn't playing video games. Has anybody gone to a film festival? Well, I volunteered at a famous film festival because I wanted to see how 250 paid staff could manage 2,300 volunteers quite well. It was a very big learning experience. They were very well organized. But what I also saw was adults and teenagers who've been to the film festival, say day 3, coming up to me saying, I'm looking for this movie in theater 12. And some of them were actually swaying. It's not because they haven't had enough sleep, but they've used up so much concentration watching 3, 4, 5 movies a day that by day 3 and 4 their concentration is shot for a short period of time. And you get, I'll never forget the lady saying, I'm looking for theater 3 for this movie. And so I said, well, if you come with me, it's right behind you. 10 minutes later, I think I've talked to you today. I'm looking for this one here. So I didn't take her hand, but I put my arm on her shoulder and I took her to the end of the line for the lineup for theater 3. And she went, I've never done this before. It's so exciting to see amazing film. I can't concentrate. Well, if we're in fright and fun too much, we have a hard time concentrating because we've used up mind-body chemistry that we need for concentration. So it's not a character flaw, it's not a personal weakness. And some of us lose the concentration faster than others. We all have different gifts. So floppy helps us relax with our sleep, calm our mind, calm our feelings, calm our body. Flow helps us get things done, feel safe, be engaged. So, anybody in education? Engagement? It's a big word with schools and students. Well, I believe that part of the problem we have in our society with engagement is we've got so much over-engagement, lots of fright and fun going on, that people show up in the classroom. I only played 9 hours of video games last night. And it's not because they're tired. Their brain's just been really, really used up from being so engaged. So again, it's not a character flaw to play video games, just how many. So
what number is flow?
What's that?
What number is flow?
Oh, flow is somewhere between, for most of us, 3 and 7.
Would you say like social networking or
The question was, is social media a fright and fun thing or a flow thing? And I would say it depends on the intensity. In doing research for this, I had...
like you got Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. By
Yes.
the time you're done, you have started your work.
So you know, by the time you do Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, when do you get your work done? Well, that's also about prioritizing what's what. So I would say that if you spend 10 minutes to 20 minutes a day, it's not a big deal. If you